Marissa Renan alias Sarah Jane Salazar was a Filipino who acquired HIV/AIDS while she was working. She continued to have sex with many men despite having these sexually transmitted diseases and was later caught by the police when she infected the men she slept with. She became an AIDS activist for the Philippine government and led a controversial life, including threatening to infect people at public places by injecting them with HIV-infected blood and by having sex and later marrying a minor of which she has 2 children with. She later died from her sexually transmitted diseases. Her case is one of the many cases from all over the world where people sick with communicable diseases intentionally infect other people either out of revenge or just plain apathy to their situation. Should we tag people with communicable diseases so we will be able to take precautions when we make contact with them? It may seem discriminatory, but we should be able to tag people with communicable diseases so we can ensure that they do not infect us if we get in contact with them. They may be just trying to live their normal lives by mixing with other people, but they may not know the danger they are exposing other people by infecting them. They may even start a contagion which can affect entire societies. A recent example will be the bird flu virus, which according to a National Geographic television documentary has infected people globally, especially people in Asia. We can also take into account many African men who infect their wives with AIDS and their wife in turn give birth to AIDS-positive children. This presentation was created by Joseph Russell Timpu-Gyson. People have been hiding their sicknesses from other people since the ancient times and may or may not care if they infect other people. In 18th century Georgian London there were prostitutes who hid their venereal diseases like syphilis to their clients. They wore wigs, makeup and had surgeries to hide their diseases which can infect their clients. The prostitutes may have hidden their sickness because they do not know of any other means of livelihood except prostitution to earn them money. Others may be making too much money out of prostitution that they do not care if they got infected themselves or infect others with sexually transmitted disease which may be fatal during those days, like syphilis. People sick with communicable diseases may hide their sicknesses to other people so they can still normally interact with other people who might stay away from them once they know they have communicable diseases. Other sick people just want to continue doing their job even though they may infect other employees in their company or just other people. They may not be aware how infectious or lethal their sickness is, or they may simply not care about their condition and how it will affect other people. We usually see a lot of people who still go to work with a flu or cold during the winter season. They do not seem to mind because they can still go to work and do their job even though they are sick. People who contract the cold or flu from these sick people usually have a small resistance to sickness or in poor health and are the ones who are not able to go to work and do their job. Especially dangerous are the sick people who intentionally infect other people out of revenge for their predicament or just for plain malice. Going back to sexually transmitted disease, there is an internet article by Jim Goad titled HIV Terrorism, 13 cases where people deliberately infected others, that reported of several people, some even grouped together, who infected people with HIV intentionally and some even boasted about it publicly. One example in the article will be Thomas Guerra, who texted and did audio clips about his intentional hiding of his sickness to his sexual partners. He only got 6 months jail time for his crime, which to me is a very light sentence for all the damage and danger he exposed other people to. I recommend that you read fully Jim Goad's article so you can have a better idea of the extent of what sick people will do to infect others intentionally. This is sad considering I am just making an example of one small part of one communicable disease that is lethal. There are still other examples of other communicable diseases where the sick infect others intentionally. Though it may seem drastic, we should be able to develop a system where we are able to detect if a person has a communicable disease. We usually take precautions in contacting persons who cough because we fear they may have a cold or worse, tuberculosis. We usually stay at a distance to people we see with visible skin diseases such as wounds with pus, measles, and lesions because we fear we may contract their skin disease. But how do we know if a person has a communicable disease with no visible signs like AIDS or herpes at their early stages, or when the sick person is able to hide it with the help of medicines to appear outwardly healthy? But how can we tag people with communicable diseases without intruding on their privacy? Do we tag sick people with communicable diseases for the greater good of the many unsuspecting people whom they may infect? Do we put a scent on cough syrups for example so people can smell if a person with communicable flu or cold is nearby? Do we make people with communicable disease wear bracelets or other trinkets with the specific communicable disease they have written on it so they can be identified by people within their vicinity so they can take precautions if they do contact them? Could they be color-coded or have varying shapes or designs according to the specific communicable disease they have for easy identification by other people? Could these trinkets be only put and removed by our health authorities similar to smart collars for dogs now already in the market or will be put in the market soon? Smart collars detect the health condition of a dog and sends a signal if the dog requires medical attention. It also monitors the location of the dog. Could a similar technology be used to people with communicable diseases, especially those with lethal diseases? Devising a tagging system for identifying people with communicable disease is easy. The question is, will this tagging system intrude on the privacy of people with communicable diseases with respect to their health and danger to society? I can remember the novel titled The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, where the heroine of the novel is made to wear a scarlet letter A, which means adulteress, on her dress so she can be shamed. If we make people with communicable disease wear this, would they feel shamed because they have a disease which can harm other people? Will these people become outcasts, especially those with lifetime communicable diseases such as the sexual disease AIDS, for which people will cast them off as sexually addicted people? That is why they got the disease, never minding that they could have contracted the disease through contacts that are not sexual in nature, such as being infected with a needle from a sick person or from being born to a parent with a communicable disease. A simple cold or flu is enough for people to stay away from a sick person, so a more lethal disease will for sure make a lot of people demand that the sick person stay away from them. There should be a discussion where we should involve both the people sick with the communicable disease and those whom they can infect, especially innocent children and sickly old people who do not have much resistance to sicknesses. On one hand we protect the public and prevent the spread of communicable disease, but we also on the other hand make people with communicable diseases a target for social abuse by people, especially by those who do not understand the nature of communicable diseases. There should be a midway where we both protect the public and at the same time also protect those with communicable diseases. End of presentation.
Reminder: I may be presenting you correct, incorrect, or intentionally misleading information for my benefit only. I advise you to conduct your own study and double-check this presentation. Thank you for your time. I hope you will continue to watch my other presentations. See you again later.